Episode 29 of the Third 10 podcast is live. What's going on, guys? I'm Nate. That's Brandon to my right. Happy Thursday to y'all. We got a lot of stuff to break down today. We got a fun topic for you guys to the end of the show. But I'm not going to take much to start the show here because, as you guys know, the New York Mets are in a bit of a pickle so far. 3 teams clinched their spot into the divisional round yesterday in the MLB playoffs, but unfortunately, one team still needs to clinch for us to be happy, and that is the New York Mets. So, Brian, I'm gonna let you take away this segment here because we're gonna start right away with the Mets. The Mets won Game 1. They lost Game 2. What happened in both of those games, and what is the key to the Mets clinching today as they take on the Brewers in Game 3?
So I'll start this off with a little fun fact, right? We got a little fun fact to start it. So this playoff format began back in 2022. Of the wild card series, there have only been 2 series to go to Game 3. The Mets were involved in both those series. They were involved in 2022 with the Padres, lost Game 1, got shelled in Game 1. Back Game 2 with DeGrom having his final pitching performance for the Mets, and then got blown out in Game 3. Similar story this time around, with the Mets just utterly playing the most stress-free game of baseball I've ever watched in my life on Tuesday. And then yesterday, we were cruising along. You know, we got out to the lead early, gave it up on the first at bat, the first inning. We were doing what we always were doing. We were responding, capitalizing on the mistakes of the Brewers, messing up the throw to first base, scoring 2 runs. And then Manaea locks in. Manaea was, I wanted to push Manaea as far as we possibly could in that game because I knew as soon as he came, I had this weird feeling when Manaea came out, we were in trouble. And that's exactly what happened. Reed Garrett, fine. Ryan Stanek pitched unbelievably. I don't know why he wasn't back out there for the 8th inning, especially because Phil Maton had pitched 3 days in a row, had the 1 day of rest, and then he go back out there again. I like Phil Maton. I like him a lot, but I would have started the inning off with Stanek and see if we can make it. But I don't want to blame it too much on the pitching because, hey, it happens. The reason the Mets lost that game is they could not capitalize. After the 2nd inning, they had many opportunities to drive in runners. They had the bases loaded, nobody out, couldn't get anybody. With the top of the order coming up, they intentionally walked Lindor, and Iglesias strikes out on 3 pitches. They had runners on 2nd and 3rd, can't drive them in. I forgot exactly how many runners they left on base, but it was a ridiculous amount of batters. Like the Mets easily should have won this game 8-5, but with the inability to drive in runners, we're sitting here right now going into a decisive Game 3, and it is the most painful loss, I think, for Mets fans because of who it was. Like, it was Jackson Chirios hitting his 2nd home run of the game. It was Garrett Mitchell who came in as a pinch runner. He wasn't even starting. He wasn't even in the game because of his bat. He was in the game to steal bases and get the 2nd. And yet, he's the one that hits the home run. He's now up there with Connor Gillespie, Paul DeYoung, crappy players who just kill the Mets. And it's just, everybody's panicking this morning because of it. Because it's like, which Mets are we going to get? We get the ones from Game 1 who are resilient and, got 5 runs in the 5th inning? Or we get the Mets from the 3rd inning on last night who bats just disappeared when the game mattered most. I don't care what he's done for his organization. Pete Alonso cannot get a long-term contract from the team next year, right? He is absolutely abysmal this year. He's got a 4 for 36 his last whatever games.
Yeah, look, I understand how stressed you may be. This, like I said, 3 other teams clinched, and it's like
we were 4 outs away from clinching.
They were 4 outs away.
We were counting outs,
and they just couldn't get it done. in game 2. So look, I mean, game 1 was impressive. Severino, I mean, that game was like the
It
offense
was gutsy.
early. They got going early, man. But the Mets scored more runs to start. Severino was solid. Manaya,
Severino's best performance, you could tell he was struggling to find a strike zone, but he was just out there and just grinded. That's what
yeah,
we wanted. That's why I wanted
yeah.
Maton to go out there for the 6th inning. I don't know
Mhm.
why they pulled him in the 5th. I'm like, he's got 20 pitches left in him. He's fine. Let him go.
Yeah, just let him go. Yeah, because just you may be struggling, but as long as you're eating up innings and you're not allowing too many runs and your offense is doing the job, just leave your guy in there. And Sevi did a heck of a job doing so in game 1. Game 2, obviously not so much with the struggles there with Manal, like you mentioned. So game 3 tonight, it's Jose Quintana for the Mets, and he takes on Myers of the Brewers. Your thoughts on that? Your confidence level in Quintana, and I assume you guys. I mean, you feel like you guys can pull this off, but
I feel like we should, but I'm so nervous based off what we did yesterday. I mean, they left 9 guys on base. 9 runs they left on the base paths. That's
sheesh.
ridiculous. That I don't care who you're playing. You're not winning if you leave a small country on the base paths. My confidence level 6 out of 10 because
Okay.
I trust Quintana, but he also could have just a meltdown spot and the bats can go quiet again.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens tonight. Hopefully by the end of today, we can say the Mets are in, and you guys would officially take on the Philadelphia Phillies. If you guys move on, and if the Brewers when they take on the Phillies as well. But otherwise, outside of the Mets, the Tigers beat the Astros 2-0 in the wild card series, so they advanced to take on the Cleveland Guardians. The Royals did the same against the Orioles, so they'll take on the New York Yankees. And then the Padres did the same as well in the National League against the Atlanta Braves. And the Padres will take on the Los Angeles Dodgers.
That's the only saving grace Mets fans had last night was the Braves got eliminated.
Hey,
at
good to
least,
see them
we made
gone,
it
man.
somewhat farther than they did.
That's true. It's good to see him gone, man. Hopefully, you guys officially make it farther than them with a win tonight. So we'll keep an eye on that. And for game updates, just follow Brian's Twitter, man. And I'll be looking out for that as well. And I'll be watching the game because I want to see. Just want to see you guys clinch, man. It'll be a good divisional matchup between the Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. So. All right, let's move on from baseball a little bit. Let's go to football. We have a few topics to discuss in the football world, including the biggest news in the world. Malik Neighbors sucks. I'm kidding. Malik Neighbors will never suck in our opinion.
Malik Neighbors has his head gust.
There's one wide receiver, though, who is taking a lot of the headlines recently, and that is Davante Adams. This has been an on and off story for so long now, but it's recently picked up, and it's actually officially
right when we logged off on Tuesday, it exploded because I think we had rumors that they were open to the idea of moving him, and then 2 hours after we logged off, Davante Adams requested a trade.
Exactly, and officially, I think this morning he because there was interest in him because it's like he didn't want to play for Vegas. But this morning we got the official word from, I believe it was Scheffner or someone, that he wants to leave and go to the Jets.
Not surprised.
Obviously nothing new. Yeah, we're not surprised.
I said Tuesday. He wants to go to the Jets.
Nothing new. However, the Raiders will take the best deal on the table. I think they're asking for at the very least a second round pick and additional compensation, which is kind of an undersell considering the fact that this is Davante motherfucking Adams, excuse my language, but that's how good he is, Mr. Adams is. So here's the thing. You guys are probably wondering how this even started in the first place. So Davante Adams was, for you average NFL fans, yes, he was a Green Bay Packer. He was acquired from the Raiders. The Raiders acquired him in a blockbuster trade with the Packers for first and second round picks, and he agreed to that because he wanted to play with his best friend Derek Carr, and I don't blame him. Unfortunately, that was just for 1 year. He appeared on the Up and Adams show with Kate Adams, love her to death, by the way. He was asked about Antonio Pierce's weird liking of a post from Sports Illustrated that was talking about if Davante Adams played his last game with the Raiders, and Adams was like, "I haven't heard from him. All I can control is this talk we're having right now with Miss Adams, and then we're done with this. All I can control is the next thing I'm on to. Basically, that's just short talk for just get me the heck out of Raiders with the Raiders because I don't want to be there. And honestly, we both had this suspicion, like since the beginning when these rumors like even started, because once Carr left, like that's the reason why you came to Vegas was for your best friend, and now he's
Yeah.
gone. So why do you want to be there anymore? The Raiders are they were never contenders.
No.
Sure, they had that hot finish to the season, but come on, you're
And
but
it's not like they replaced Derek Carr with like say they replaced. All right, we're replacing Derek Carr, but we're drafting Caleb Williams. Okay, like it's my best friend, but at least I have a competent quarterback in Caleb Williams who could be better than Derek Carr. He went from Derek Carr to Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, and I love Gardner Minshew. I would take him as a Giants quarterback tomorrow. But that's still a downgrade at the very least. Or at least be like, why do I want to go compete with this guy? I came in to play my best friend.
it's like actually no, I'll wait. I'll save that point for in a bit because I just want to mention a few things because he's dealing with a hamstring injury, so that's a bit of a concern. But let's be honest, I'm sure
Gardner
once
was
he
also
gets
dealing with a
traded,
hamstring injury. Then he got traded to Brooklyn, and magically it was fixed.
oh,
You know what? He's taking. If Davante Adams wears a fat suit, I'll tip my cap to that
and
one.
like James Harden,
James Harden. You can never convince me James Harden did not wear a fat suit that day.
but
He magically looked in shape. 10 days later, he was in Brooklyn. Like, bro, he's not Superman. He can't do that. That fact.
and then went to Brooklyn and well died, and now he's with the Clippers. But I digress. So Davante's salary is currently at the moment 17.5 million this season. He has 13.5 million owed to him through the rest of the season, which is not too bad. However, for teams that will be trading for him, that annual salary jumps to 36.25 million each for 2025 and 2026. So whoever does trade for him will have to pay a pretty penny for his services for the next few years. He does deserve it though. He's a top 5 wide receiver for a reason when healthy. The question is, where would he go? There's plenty of teams. I have 7 teams here, Brian, that I kind of want to run by you first. We'll save the obvious ones for last. First off is the San Francisco 49ers, which sounds crazy as heck, but with the struggles of Brandon Ayuk, they did just pay him straight up 1-for-1. Ayuk for Adams.
I would be a lot more inclined to agree with you had the Niners not just given him the big contract. I feel like if we were like 2 months ago and it's still like debating, I feel like this is a no-brainer. Do it.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of have him just sign up. The Niners not going to want to sign somebody and trade him 5 weeks later. So I can see the Niners potentially being it. Maybe more of a Debo throw in, but I kind of see him as a very long shot right now.
Okay. All right. How about the Buffalo Bills, who, this season are rolling with Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, and Khalil Shakir as their kind of wide receivers out there. They don't have a wide receiver number 1, which isn't the end of the world. Just ask the Packers. But I think for Josh Allen to really have success this season, to add on to the success that he's having a guy like Davante Adams would help. So what do you think of the Buffalo Bills to possibly go for?
I think the Bills are a great destination for him, but I don't think this is like an intimate one. I think this is something that's going to be more like a deadline destination. Like, say the Bills struggle again this week. Then maybe the conversation is, okay, we need to bring in somebody to rejuvenate us. Because, we went 3-0, but we had a bad loss to the really good Ravens, and then another bad loss. Maybe we need a wide receiver 1 to just put us over the edge. So I could see this being more of like a late October move, but definitely a team to monitor.
Okay. How about the Washington Commanders, who, let's face it, man, they are one of the best teams in the NFC. Jaden Daniels has been outstanding, and Terry McLaurin has been great. Why not add Davante Adams to add on to that offense?
Yeah, no, this is definitely. I don't think a lot of people saw the Commanders as contenders this season. maybe because Philly and Dallas.
Yeah.
But with how bad Philly and Dallas have looked so far, why not go all in for it? Like we're saying right now, do you think the NFC East is Washington's to lose?
Oh,
I think
100%.
it's Washington's division. So might as well just cement that fact. Go get a wide receiver number one, and just have a stud offense with your superstar young quarterback, your face of the franchise Terry McLaurin, and one of the best receivers in the game, Davante Adams, and Brian Robinson at running back. Like Zach Ertz, who's having a revitalization at tight end this year. Like
Yeah.
who's stopping that?
No one. No, sir. You got to guard McLaurin and add Davante. Ertz has been playing well too, and it kind of opens up the running game as well for Brian Robinson, and Austin Eckler has been a weapon outside in the receiving game too. So I mean, having Adams would help Mr. Daniels' growth just improve or rise increasingly if he has Davante. So he's an option to have, and definitely the NFC East would be pretty much all Washington because Dallas is struggling, Philadelphia doesn't look as great, and the Giants are the Giants. So until they get a quarterback, they're not going to go anywhere. The Giants are.
Bingo.
The Kansas City
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Let's do a deep run at quarterback at some point because I'm getting a little concerned this quarterback draft class. I don't see anybody right now. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I need to do like a deep dive into it, but like no one's impressed me. I can't sit there and be like, that is the quarterback of the future right there.
If I put you on the spot, if for the Giants, who would you want?
I guess Quinn Ewers, but he's hurt, so I need to see more out of him.
Okay, that's fair. I was thinking say like Milroe or something.
I'm so torn on Milroe right now. Like he has great games, but like he also like the jokes about Lamar Jackson being a running back are like 10 times out of Jalen Milroe. Like my friend legit calls him a running back that can throw the ball.
He just beat Georgia though. He's
but like he also got bailed out by Ryan Williams a lot.
That's
so
true.
like
yeah,
I mean he's gonna have Malik Davis comes to New York, and I have to watch film on him because my other buddy's an Alabama fan. Goes, if you like Penix, you'll love him. But that's why I'm so torn on him because like I have him saying that, but I also have other people being like he actually can't throw the ball as well as you think he can.
Yeah. All right. So back to the teams real quick, and I do want to mention with the exception of the two teams that we'll mention last, I don't know the cap space of those other teams. They could probably cook something up, but cap space matters a lot. So that's just a little disclaimer because I understand people go, "What about the cap space? They can't get it done." I understand that. That's what I'm saying. If they can open cap space, then we'll figure it out. But these last two teams we'll mention, they do have plenty of cap space to get a deal done. The next team, real quick, before we get to those two teams, is the Kansas City Chiefs. Because why? Why not?
Because they lost Rashid Rice. They could use a dominant wide receiver number one, especially because Travis Kelce looks like he's kind of letting Father Time catch up with him. Yeah, might as well get a really good receiver in Adams. But
get a weapon.
Are the Raiders going to trade with a division rival, especially a division rival that's won back-to-back looking for a three-peat?
Yeah, true. Do they really want to help them out again?
Yeah.
If they do that, then it's like how
I feel like they'll have to pay a king's ransom for it. Like kind of like us moving up to 2 with Washington. Like we can do it, but it's going to cost you more than it's going to cost a team like New England.
And are they willing to pay the amount of $36.25 million?
Yeah,
the next 2 years when you have Rice and Worthy. It's up to you. All right. Finally, the two teams that he most wants to go to, per se, the New York Jets and the New Orleans Saints. Well, let's start with the Saints because I feel like that's like the second most likely scenario to happen.
Yeah.
I understand, why not go play again with your best friend from college and from the Raiders? But why is this move not a good one, Brian? I feel like you know why.
But because the Saints aren't really that good of a team.
Because the Saints are the Aints, okay?
Yeah.
They won the first 2 games and everyone was on top of the mother fluffing world, and then all of a sudden they just fall down back down to earth because the Eagles humbled them. This
Yeah.
team isn't
And to
good.
be fair, they should have beaten the Eagles, but that's neither here or there.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That was an
That was
ugly
a
game.
game that neither team really deserved to win.
Fair. Yeah, I.
That's like, okay, we had to have a winner in this game, but really, these teams are both losses. This is
Yeah,
losses for both of them.
exactly. But yeah, I mean, it'll be nice to see him reunite with Derek Carr, but at the same time, you know, I I don't know. This doesn't seem like the best fit for him. What are your thoughts on this for the
No,
Saints?
like yeah, it's nice for him to Derek Carr, but like, does Davante Adams make the Saints better than the Buccaneers or the Falcons? I don't really think so. If anything, maybe at the same level as them, but I don't think it
Mhm.
gives them a like huge advantage. And I don't think Dennis Allen's a great coach either. So I think that would kind of fall apart. And
Mhm.
the Saints have probably run the worst cap situations in the NFL. So you're really going to bring in a contract like Davante Adams and just make it even worse. Like I feel like the Saints are always in the negative when it comes to cap space every
Yeah,
offseason. It's just like, oh, the Saints have negative $60 million. Like, how is it this badly managed, guys?
it's like how did they go from good to like the worst cap space? And I don't know how they signed players or whatever this off season or
I
whatever the
think
case
it's
may.
like some really credit to their GM of
Some
making,
Houdini type stuff, man.
making chicken salad out of, chicken, you know what? But I think Adams would just complicate that situation way more than he should have.
Yeah. So that's an option, but I feel like the most likeliest one to happen is the New York Jets.
Yep.
For obvious reasons, I feel like he needs to be back with him, and him being Aaron Rodgers, his teammate from the Green Bay Packers, and those two were successful during their time in Green Bay. No Super Bowl, obviously, but in terms of individual success, stat wise, and they were winning games a lot when the two were together.
Hmm.
This makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson is the Jets' wide receiver number one. Rodgers and Wilson though have struggled to kind of find that chemistry. If anything, Rodgers has had more chemistry with Alan Lazard, the wide receiver number two, than anything else, and Mike Williams as well recently. So, I mean, it's not like they don't no, it's not like they need him. However, the Jets would,
The Jets become Super Bowl contenders overnight
yeah,
because this is what the Jets know Aaron Rodgers is a short-term solution. They know at best they only have one, maybe two more years with Rodgers under center. So they need to do everything they can to win a Super Bowl in these next 2 years. Davante Adams makes that path a lot better because you have one of the best receivers in the league coming with a guy who he loves to play for. That can revitalize him and get him going again. If you have Adams and Lazard, that takes the pressure off trying to force a connection with Garrett Wilson, making that more natural. Like, oh, Wilson's open. I don't have to force him the ball. I'll just give him the ball, making the Jets' offense more versatile and better.
yeah. I'm just saying it would just take a lot of stress off of it, Rodgers. I'll tell you that much. You know, to have not one but two guys that he can depend on in both Wilson and Adams, I think defenses will have kind of a headache having to deal with those two. And honestly, they have the cap space to do it. And if Robert Saleh wants to save his job, getting a guy like Davante would help out a
He'll
lot.
do it.
So, yeah. Do we both agree that he'll go to, he'll most likely go to the Jets, or do you see the
Yeah,
Saints gonna make it?
I see the
Okay.
Jets. I see the Jets because I think the Jets are like, unlike the Saints, the Jets are win now. They feel like that outer pressure that they'll be more willing to make a big splash like that. Whereas the
Mm,
Saints, like, sure they want to win a Super Bowl this year, but like coming into the year, it felt like a transition period.
It's like, and how long are the Saints gonna roll with Derek Carr under center? That is
Yeah,
TBD.
there's so much long term questions. Like the Jets have those, but it's not because of Derek Carr is bad. It's because they're worried about Aaron Rodgers retiring.
Mm-hmm.
That clock
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah. So.
It's a clock they don't control, whereas they control how long Derek Carr plays for the Saints.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on that as news happens. Most likely, no deal will happen today, but it will happen soon. Davante will miss out this weekend's game. Expect Jacoby Myers to take over as the wide receiver number one for the Las Vegas Raiders, who are slowly falling apart before our eyes. because they have no run game, and now then they're going to lose their best receiver. So,
hey, this is what happens when you sign Josh McDaniels and not who was the interim coach that led to the playoffs?
Bisaccia,
Today now. Yes, they should have just hired him.
they should have just kept him. They had so much success with
I
him.
don't know why you didn't keep those two. You let McDaniels come in and destroy his organization.
He was great. Bisaccia was, and he was a player's coach. Everyone loved him, and all of a sudden, you hire McDaniels, and boom, ruins everything. So yeah.
The position he was brought into with them firing John Gruden for all the comments he made, and then he somehow willed that team to a playoff berth.
I know. That is impressive. That's when you know. So you're doing something right. But
I'm shocked no one's giving him a shot yet. Like, what? I mean, I kind of like Antonio Pierce. He's a former Giant and all that. But why isn't anybody giving him like a chance to be a head coach again? He clearly earned the at least an interview. I don't even feel like we get interviews with him.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think I ever heard of him getting interviews. So maybe he's happy being the special teams coach in Green Bay. I mean, he's winning.
Maybe. Yeah, he's winning, but like you would feel like he proved he could be a head coach. Like let me run a team.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So we'll see. We'll see with this whole Davante situation, but no updates as of today, other than the fact that he does want to go to the Jets the most, and the Raiders will take the best deal on the table. So. All right. The last time we said they were going to lose, they actually, they ended up winning, but I don't think it's going to happen this week. We're talking about the Giants as they take on the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah. Are you saying that just to reverse psychology us, or you actually think we're going to lose?
They're losing. They're losing bad.
All right. Let's do a due diligence, though.
-6.
Yeah. Let's do our due diligence, obviously, because that's our job. In terms of team previews, and so Seattle Seahawks. Last time he played these guys was at home last year, and
Jones' career.
Yeah, that was the end. That was the beginning of the end for him. A 24-3 loss. I saw Jones threw a pick six to Devon Witherspoon, literally stared into his soul and threw it right to him. That sucked the life out of the building, including a poor attempt at chasing him down and tackling him, did Jones. So that was depressing. You could see Dable's face was so just out of life. He was like, really? This is what I have to deal with?
Like a year ago this week. I got a memory on Snapchat of me and my roommates.
Oh, God.
So distraught by that. We built a beer pyramid. Had everything we made to cope with the Daniel Jones.
But yeah, so I mean, look, Seattle hasn't looked like they're slowing down. They look great this year once again. They rank 5th in yards per game, 1st in passing yards. Their rushing game isn't the best, but then again, they didn't have Kenneth Walker for a certain amount of time. It's not like Zach Charbonnet was a downgrade. He was okay, but to have Kenneth Walker back does help out a lot. They average 25.5 points a game, so they can score the ball, but they can also play some solid defense. They are 8th in yards per game allowed, 7th in passing yards per game allowed as well. Average when it comes to the run, so I guess the game plan is kind of simple for New York, but they do allow 21.0 points per game, which is about average as well. So you would think the keys to the game would be still give Malik Neighbors a football. Unfortunately, that may or may not be the case, because Malik Neighbors, unfortunately, despite the fact that Giants played on Thursday night last week, Malik Neighbors is still not ready to. Well, looks like he's not ready to go.
He didn't practice yesterday. I don't know. I don't think they've released the practice report yet from today, but I really doubt he played.
Yeah, it's a bad sign. What's up, Hoodrich Carlton? Appreciate you, my guy. One of our subscribers from the 3rd and 10 podcast. Subscribe if you haven't, by the way, on YouTube.
Sure.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors, it looks like he's not going to play. Like you mentioned, he didn't practice yesterday, and no news about today, but he might not even practice today. If anything, he'll be limited at the very most, which if he's limited, which is kind of a good sign. But like, concussions are nothing to be, played around with.
Especially today's game where they're trying to so cautious with concussions.
Yeah.
This isn't a leg injury. This isn't something they're going to push. This is like, okay, you're going to take your time, because we don't want to be, be in a media firestorm.
Yeah. So he's likely not going to play, which kind of we're right back to where we were last time we played the Seahawks, which is Robinson, Slayton, and Hyatt. which is fine.
Are we going to see Hyatt? And
I know. Watch somehow we just sign some random wide receiver and just put him out there, just because we don't want to play freaking Hyatt. But I digress. Other injuries for the Giants to note before we get to the keys to the game, since Neighbors likely isn't going to play. Adoree Jackson, DNP. Joe Phillips did not practice as well on Wednesday. Devin Singletary didn't practice on Wednesday, but he should be playing. Brian Burns, Wandale, and Matthew Adams are limited or good to go. So expect those three to be playing on Sunday. But the fact that we could be out with two of our best corners and our best receiver.
It's a receiver disaster here in Seattle, especially with the offense performance they just put up. Like, we need the entire secondary healthy and ready to go.
Mm-hmm. We need all the guys we can get, but we may not even get those guys. So we shall see.
Phillips Jackson didn't practice either.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's we might be out. Those guys might be out too. So it's just like, eesh.
That's a big loss for us.
I know. So, well, you always go first, buddy. What are the keys to? I don't know if we can do it. This isn't the Browns, man.
The first key is to attack Seattle secondary. Like we're talking about all the injuries Giants have. Seattle secondary is pretty banged up too. I think they're going to be out at least a few starters. I know in the secondary, but Leonard Williams is going to be out. Julian Love's going to be out. I think Witherspoon's dealing with an injury right now. So the Seattle's going to have a very depleted secondary. That's how we saw Jared Goff have the historic night he did on Monday night. Something similar to that. Now, that'd be a lot easier to do if you had, a guy like Malik Neighbors. But we saw what Wandale Robinson can do this season. We've seen what Slayton can do in the past when he hangs on to the football. And if Jalen Hyatt can get going and get a few deep balls and burn some, lesser corners, could move the ball.
Yeah, I was looking at the injury report. Leonard Williams did practice full. He was limited, so he might be out. Julian Love has a thigh injury; he's limited. Boye Mafe, linebacker, did not practice with a knee injury. Same can be said for Tyrell Dotson, the linebacker. He didn't practice. Byron Murphy, the second, didn't practice. He's on a defensive tackle. So let's not act. Yeah, like just mentioned, let's not act like Seattle looks healthy. The injury report was long. Now it's filled with guys that practice fully, so they'll be ready to go. But
they're still dealing with something. There's still something nagging them, so not 100%.
Exactly. So, well, I mean, here's the thing. It's like this isn't the Browns, and the Browns were injured. Their O-line was massively injured. And that's how the Giants were able to get to the quarterback so many times. But this is Seattle, and the emergence of Jackson Smith-Njigba. Yeah, like the emergence of Jackson Smith-Njigba, TK Metcalf is DK Metcalf, and if Adoree and Phillips doesn't play, do you really trust McLeod to get the job done?
Not at all. Not at all. Even Banks, Banks has kind of been up and down this year too. Like he hasn't been great this season. So do you really trust him to guard Metcalf all night?
Yeah. Let's see. And then Hoodridge Collison says, I like your point. I think, Brian, your point about attacking the secondary. However, it's important to me. They attack the secondary through the run. And that's the key overall for this Giants team. If they're going to win this game, is run the football. Now, do I trust Singletary after what happened last week? Honestly, I knew this type of performance is going to happen eventually. Like, he had a hot start to the year, sure. But this type of performance is going to happen because he's just not he's not that explosive of a back, and he just couldn't get anything done against the Dallas defense.
Yeah, which had been letting up 300 rushing yards a game the 2 weeks beforehand. Like that was the biggest storyline, was how bad the rush defense was. And then Singletary does nothing. Like that's concerning.
Yeah, 24 rushing yards by him alone and 26 yards as a team. So yeah, if the Giants are going to win, it's like throwing the football. If Neighbors is out, yes, I expect Wandale Robinson to get targeted like crazy. If anything, Darius Slayton will be trusted, even though he does have his drop moments, which he'll likely have another one against Seattle. I'm pretty sure, unless he proves me wrong. We'll see. And then maybe we'll see Jalen Hyatt. And honestly, if
Maybe.
Hyatt is in the game and they push the ball down the field to him, not saying that will give us an increased chance, but we'll have a shot because Hyatt is replacing what Neighbors is, just more specifically deep balls down the field. So,
but here's my other question: trust Daniel Jones deep ball?
No.
So yeah, so like
No.
Jalen Hyatt's a deep ball receiver with a quarterback that can't throw the deep ball.
Mm-hmm. And it's like
this one.
It's Hyatt basically like a waste of a draft pick now because he was specifically brought into for a deep threat. I mean, unless they're gonna wait till next year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to say he's a waste yet because I want to give him a quarterback that could throw the ball deep. Like, if we had even had Jared Goff in here, I feel like Hyatt could be used a lot better than he is. It's just every time Daniel Jones throws a ball deep, it's like a dead duck.
He is like 2 of 13 this year on balls that travel 20 plus
yards. Last week, one of them was a wide open Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, which he had to go turn around like an outfielder, and then turn around again towards upfield, and he saw defenders there. So, defensively,
yeah, but the play stopped. Everyone's like, "Okay, he's gonna catch the ball, and then we can go." It was like kickoff,
basically. So yeah, I mean, I don't trust him, but hey, maybe he'll shock the world. Jones will. I don't know. Probably won't because things don't change within a week. But defensively, I mean,
going again. Can Patrick get going finally?
Brian Burns, please. Yeah. Of course, some sacks, baby.
I don't care if the Giants win or not. I want the pass rush to at least show me improvement. All right, they had a 14.7 pressure rate against Dallas. I need you to be at least average because when you have Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Kayvon Thibodeau, like that should be one of the best pass rushing groups in the league, and yet they've been severely underperforming so far. So I need something to give me a little hope that this isn't a mistake.
I will say I don't have the stats in front of me, but if you look at it in depth, Aziz Ojulari has played pretty well when he's on the field. He hasn't been hurt yet, but when healthy, obviously he's been more of a pass rushing specialist, and he hasn't been on the field too much because of Burns and Thibodeau. But when on the field, he has been able to cause pressure, and that's probably the best role for him. Now
he's taking like the Isaiah Simmons role that I wanted him to have, just like come in and rush the quarterback.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I mean, other than that, yeah, just gets the quarterback, man. There was an article that released. Oh wait, we have a latest update on Malik Neighbors for week 5.
Oh boy.
Nope, still in concussion protocol. Neighbors, Jordan Renan says he seems like a long shot to play in week 5. He still has a chance to play though if he logs a limited practice in a red non-contact jersey. But if he does not practice at all, he will likely not play. So that is yeah.
He's not playing. Don't expect him. He's not playing. That's simple. If he plays, awesome, but don't be counting on it.
I do want to ask you, just off, on the spot in a way. We know Geno Smith has gone through a lot in his NFL career. Right? He was with the Jets to begin his career, right? He was bad, bounced around a few teams. Yeah, bounced around with he joined us and started a game against the Raiders for us. Plus he's found a home in Seattle. So I don't want to go too far. There's an article that released by the New York Post that said that Geno Smith's Geno Smith's career right now seems like a blueprint for, as crazy as it is, say it, Daniel Jones's post-Giants career.
Yeah.
Realistically, you see it? You could see it? Okay.
They are right that is the path Daniel Jones should go down. Like, kind of be a journeyman and then try to prove yourself again like Geno Smith does. But the issue is Geno Smith started out like bad and like never really progressed. We've seen progression from Daniel Jones. Like, but the problem is we've seen a lot of regression. Like,
Mm.
he's still doing things. Like, early in his career, Daniel Jones was really good at throwing the deep ball. He had, like, high deep ball accuracy. That's why I was so excited they brought in Hyatt. Now he's gotten older, and he's had a bunch of neck injuries and the ACL tears. That's kind of gone away from him. So he's a lot more banged up and dealt with more severe injuries than Geno Smith has. And it's kind of lost that some of the good intangibles of his game.
Yeah, and plus Gino he learned from multiple great people throughout his career too. So it's like Jones hasn't really learned from anyone because he's pretty much always been handed the starting job. And when he's been sort of mentored, it's by Drew Lock, not the best guy to be mentored by.
No.
So now I just want to point it out real quick.
Yeah. It's an
Look,
interesting idea, and I think a lot of journeyman quarterbacks can learn a lot from guys like Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold to an extent. But Daniel Jones physically doesn't have that intangibles to do it.
yeah. Plus, so Jones would basically have to bounce around a few teams before he finds his niche. So
Yeah, he needs to
whenever,
find like the perfect match.
which God knows where that is, and by the grace of God, who knows where that may be. So, anyways, though, that's what that'll do it. Yeah, Seattle's gonna win this one. It's gonna be ugly. It's in Seattle, no neighbors. Maybe they'll pull off a Colt McCoy, Wayne Gallman type of game where they just pull an ugly one out of the hat. The last time they played in Seattle.
But that was a big pass rush game. That was like Leonard Williams' coming out party.
Mm-hmm. And
like
where's Leonard
2
Williams
sacks
now?
that game.
Yeah. And where's Leonard Williams now? On the Seahawks. Great. Seahawks 30. Giants 12.
Yeah, I'm thinking Seahawks 28, Giants 10.
Actually, no, we're gonna score one touchdown, right?
No, we didn't do it last week against Dallas.
Okay, give me 13. No, does it change anything? No. But
doesn't.
We'll take it. All right. As you guys hear a vacuum in the background, I'm going to let Brian take over this next segment because this is about Deuce Knight. So, Brian, to make it short, what the heck happened?
Yeah, so I wrote Deuce Knight was the star of the Notre Dame 2025 recruiting class. He was a borderline top 5-star prospect. Was a 4-star prospect, but like I kind of had some sites have as a 5, others as a 4, kind of bouncing in between. And he was going to be like the poster child of this recruiting class. Now, over the past couple months, we'd seen him start kind of flirting with Auburn a little bit. A lot of his friends were going to Auburn, so he was going on visits with them. And then slowly, I think he visited Auburn like 3 times this season already. Like, he just keeps going back there. So there was this concern that, okay, Auburn's like very serious. They're probably going to flip him because if you look at it, I believe he's from Mississippi. So, like, Notre Dame was like 500 miles away from home. Auburn's only 200 miles away. SEC country, so he grew up watching Auburn in the SEC. Notre Dame has struggled in SEC unless it's in like major cities like Atlanta or Nashville. They don't really do well in the rural areas that SEC teams do really well in. But it was important that Notre Dame kept him because Knight was being such a he was recruiting himself. He was, in comment sections of other top recruits, like, come join me at Notre Dame. Like, that was big for the recruiting class. So it was like, all right, he's not only being a recruit, he's trying to get better. But I really think it's just like wanting to play SEC football because he grew up watching it and being closer to home made him more likely to be like, you know what, I don't really want to go that far to Indiana. I want to stay where I know I'm going to Auburn. And plus, he probably got a huge NIL contract. And this is not uncommon for Deuce Knight. He transferred high schools, too. Like, he originally transferred to a school in Tennessee and then transferred to the school he's at right now. So he's always kind of indecisive. And if we're being honest, like, Notre Dame has their star quarterback in CJ Carr. Like, even if we got Deuce Knight, he was going to sit for a couple of years. So he probably would have ended up transferring. But the fact it does sting that Auburn got him, and because he is going to be, I think, be a good quarterback. But Hugh Freeze has a very bad reputation with quarterbacks, so I would not be surprised if he's in the transfer portal again in a couple seasons. So it sucks, but right after, my biggest concern with Knight was he was going to transfer, and it was going to be this mass exodus of people. Like, oh, Knight's not coming here anymore. I want to go somewhere else too. But 35 minutes after Knight transfers, Noah Grubbs, the 2026 quarterback, 4-star quarterback, goes, I'm going to the Irish. And a lot of other Irish recruits kind of tweeted out, like, I'm staying with the Irish. So it made you feel a little bit better. Like, hey, it stinks not to get this really good quarterback in Knight, but we have CJ Carr. Noah Grubbs is coming down the pipeline. We'll be okay.
Yeah, Knight, as you mentioned, a 4-star recruit, second best dual threat quarterback in the class of 2025. Apparently, he attended 4 Auburn home games and said, "Okay, now I'll go transfer go from Notre Dame to Auburn and change my mind." Weird thing is that I learned he went to 4 home games. Auburn is 2-3. Nice.
Yeah. So have fun going to the loser.
Yeah, nice going, buddy. Way to make your decision after 4 home games. By the way, talking about home games, Notre Dame is 4-1 this season. By the way, overall, so bit of a dumb decision, yes. But look,
the only school in the country with 2 wins against ranked opponents. I know we lost NIU, but that can't be overstated. It's 2 wins against top 25 teams. That's impressive.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Auburn can't even beat Cal. Go Bears. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Before we get to our on this, no, the Irish are on a bye week, so
Irish are on a bye week. Yep. So I mean, it's a lot. It is a loss, and I'm not going to overstate that. Deuce Knight would have been the quarterback Notre Dame's been waiting for, but the sky isn't falling with everything else. It's a still strong recruiting class. They're going to try and get a quarterback this cycle. I don't know if they can, but I kind of would rather just stick with CJ Carr. Be like, all right, you're the guy. And if that doesn't work, we have Noah Grubbs coming.
True. Yeah, I got to see CJ Carr for sure. And then, if anything, he'll still have Jeremiah Love back in the backfield to help him out.
Yeah.
So
and the Notre Dame has a weaker schedule again next year. So 12-0 is not out of the realm of possibility. It just can't. It's going to be a better offensive line. A lot of, secondary is going to be good. Not as good as it is this year, but it's going to be decent at least. The only question really for Notre Dame next year is quarterback.
And so we'll see what happens there. Alrighty. So let's get to our fun topic of the day, huh? Brian, you came up with this last week. You came up with a solid idea about sports moments that should be turned into movies. So for this one, you mentioned top 5 international sports that should be brought to the U.S. Is that correct, or what? If you don't mind me asking,
top 5 international sports that you wish were more popular in the U.S. Oh, okay, this is a really big following in Europe or Asia, but I really want, I wish that fan base was in America too. I wish we were competing like they were.
Yeah, so dog eating. I'm kidding. Okay, that's
dog eating crazy.
Oh, okay. Crazy.
Yeah, I meant like Olympic sports.
Oh, I'm Asian, so I can say that. So don't come at me, guys. All right. Anyways, it was hard to find international sports. I was looking into it, and I was like, dang, there's not my lack of knowledge outside of the regular sports of that we played in the US is very lacking. So I tried my best. So let's start with you. I have 5. You have 5. I don't know if we have the same 5.
We have one same. We've one same, but it's pretty obvious. Yeah,
okay.
It's a pretty obvious one. I feel like every American was like, oh, we like that sport. That's like this.
And that sport is rugby. Yeah, almost said cricket. All right. What stands out to you about rugby and why should it be popular? We'll both give our reasons why.
It's kind of like a mix of kind of like soccer and football. It's it's kind of like it's like everyone's favorite part is like a kickoff return that's a bunch of laterals going on and craziness. That's what rugby really is. You can only throw the ball behind you, and there's tackling, and you got go in the end zone and touchdown. Like, there's a lot of similarities between the two sports.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just like the contact, man. They no pads, no nothing. They're just hitting each other. I was like, that is real physicality, man. The NFL will not approve of that because they've been soft. But
Yeah.
honestly, heck of a sport. Yeah, honestly should be more popular here. There are a few leagues out. I think there's like a U.S. rugby league. I'm sure.
It's very popular in college. A lot of college have
Yeah.
going to like when I was at Siena, there was like rugby games every Saturday. It was like, oh, you go to the rugby game.
Yeah. So that's definitely one sport too that we both shared, that we both had on our list, that it should be more popular here in the U.S. But we'll start with you now. Now that we're moving on to what other sports we had differently. What's one that you had, good sir?
So for me, number 5 is Gaelic football. It is the most popular sport in Ireland. I knew you were going to make that face, so I decided the best way to show you this sport. I want to get highlights up of this because you can't do the sport justice without seeing some crazy highlights. So here we go.
Let's see it.
No, I don't want Sonic Generations. All right, here we go. No thanks. I don't want ads. All right. Share screen. Like football. Share. All right, see it?
Yes, I do.
All right, here we go. So it's a round ball. You can use your hands, kick it, throw it down. Normally tackling going on.
It looks similar to rugby, but it's
very similar to rugby, yes. And but there's more soccer involved with it, I would say, because it's like a goal. So you can kick it in the goal for points, or you can kick it to the upright for points. One of the two. So it's a nice mix of soccer. It's another mix of soccer and football, like rugby is. So I feel like that would get people's attention. And there's some. If you look up Gaelic football, you'll find some crazy videos.
Fair enough. All right. I like that. It looks fun, and the fact that you can either you can kick it into the goal or kick to the goalpost. I'm sure there's like different points for doing either one.
Basketball with like 1 and 2 pointers and like some stuff like that.
Yeah,
but it's more strategy. It's cool. It's a cool sport.
Oh yeah, 100%. So yeah, all right. So number 5. Oh, my fault, buddy. Sorry.
So 5 is Gaelic football. 4 is rugby. 3 is water polo. I don't know if that's really popular internationally, but like I've switched to the sport that's more popular in the U.S. Like it just seems kind of fun to play, and like with the whole treading water the entire time, it seems like a really intuitive sport to do. Number 2 is curling, which is kind of like darts but on ice. The brooms, yeah. Every year on the Winter Olympics, I make the same joke. If I train for a year, I can make the U.S. curling team. It's not that hard of a sport, guys. But no, it seems awesome. I've done it. I haven't played it, but like I've covered it a lot with school and stuff like that. It's really interesting. A lot of strategy involved. It just seems kind of like a chess match, like kind of like a baseball. Where like, all right, should I go for that or should I go for the points? Interesting sort of concept. And number 1 for me is handball. Similar, it seems like a really fun sport. Major following overseas in Europe. I really think if the U.S. got together, they could dominate some handball.
Isn't handball where you just hit the ball like to the wall or something? Like you're hitting it.
Ball. Handball is you pass the ball around and there's a goal. You throw it into the goal. It's soccer with your hands.
Oh, what?
You have to dribble to move it.
Dribble to move it.
Very high scoring. A lot of high scoring games. Normally it's like 20-19 is the final score.
So basically, let's just send our NBA point guards.
Pretty much, yeah.
Dribble and send LeBron in there too because he can pass that crap. Okay, I like that. All right, bet. So mine are pretty regular per se. Yours is unique, and I love that, honestly. So for me, all right. So for me, outside, rugby was 5. Number 4 is badminton. Look, I know there's tennis out there, but I used to play badminton as a kid. a little bit. I have my own badminton set for God knows why. It's popular, obviously not much in the U.S., but it's a fun sport. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
like volleyball and tennis mixed together because it's like a little net and everything. You have to get over the net and all that fun stuff. So, I mess with that for sure. Number three is cricket. Look, I know we got baseball and everything, but hey, man, we
Hey,
could
we upset Pakistan.
yeah, dang. Yeah, hey, tell them. Yeah, dang right we did. Okay, so if we could do that, we are more than capable of having a national team. Now, granted, the national team is filled with American or not American Indians, but Native American wise, but just Indians that are American, I should say. So let's get some, diversity in the cricket team. Then we just got to get some practice in there. We can get some Caucasians, we get some African Americans, we get some Asians in there too. Like we could do it, man. We just got to get practice in. But cricket seems fun, honestly. It would take some time to learn it for sure. I haven't
Oh, yeah.
really learned much about it yet, but
I
uh,
figured it out. The
oh
U.S. upset upset Pakistan. I'm like, all right, I kind of want the U.S. to win this thing because everyone would be so
yeah.
mad at us. And I remember I kind of figured out how to play, but I have completely forgotten how to now.
I get you. I get you. So yeah, that's yeah. If it does somehow get popular in the U.S., I will have to
Like
learn that for sure.
the amount of runs you get over the amount of outs. Like if you score like 200 points and 8 outs, like they get 9 outs, they're done. It's something like that. It seems confusing, but once you learn it, you're like, oh, it's actually is a lot more simpler than it seems.
Hmm. But just saying like Alonzo, Harper, Lindor, them hit dingers in cricket. I don't know.
Alonzo, don't say Alonzo. Alonzo can't hit the ball anymore. I'm done.
All
I'm
of,
done with Pete Alonzo.
all of a sudden today, game three, 2 home runs by Pete Alonso carries the Mets to the next
I hope Pete
round.
Alonso proves me wrong right now, but at this moment in time, I much rather move Mark Piento to first base and sign like Alex Bregman at third. They bring back Pete.
It's like whoever gets eliminated from the playoffs, you can sign one player from their team just for the postseason.
Yeah.
You guys would sign Bregman.
He tripped over his bat. He tripped over his bat. I've seen little leaguers who know how to throw the bat.
I understand your frustration.
36. It's all singles. He's got no power anymore. Go look at Pete Alonso. Go look at Baseball Reference. You know what? We're doing it right now. Finish your list, and then we're doing Pete Alonso.
I'll go quickly. Number two is ping pong / table tennis. Asians are known for being dominant in that sport. But hey, the U.S. can get some action in that too, baby. So give me ping pong number two. And number one, hear me out. I heard it's popular in Europe. It's called chess boxing. So
I know
there's
this sport.
yeah, you know this sport.
I know this sport. I saw I used to watch videos of like top 10 weirdest sport, and this was always on it. It's hilarious.
So basically, for those of you who don't know, so participants compete in a 3-minute interval of chess, and after those 3 minutes are done, they go in a boxing match. The winner goes to the person who either beats the other person in chess or knocks the other person out. I'm just saying, man, we've got Muhammad Ali, we've gotten yeah, so he was great in the past. Obviously we know, Adonis Creed of the past as well, and Rocky and all that crap. Wait a minute.
I'm like, wait a minute, Adonis Creed? That's from Rocky. No, those are fake people. That's Carl Weathers.
You know what? I'm not gonna say anything anymore. I'm good. I'm done. I don't deserve to talk about this anymore. But
Very popular in Germany, which makes sense for some reason. I don't know why. It just seems like German.
Thank you for finishing my point. I don't think I deserve to talk. See, this is why. Okay, but I don't talk about anything else other than football and basketball to an extent and baseball. So yeah, I'll stick with what I know. All right, buddy. Yeah. First off, great topic as always. I think this will be a weekly thing that we just come out with like random stuff. For Thursday's show, as a vacuum is blasting outside my door. I do apologize for those who are watching and listening to this. All right, let's.
Very simple. I'll make it short and sweet.
We're going. Take your time.
We're doing share screen again. Jeez. Sure. Pete Alonso's stats. This is where I want to bring your attention to. So 2019, 53 home runs. Okay, cool. 120 RBIs. But this is the most important part. a 260 batting average, a 358 on base percentage, a 941 OPS. So he wasn't just a good power hitter, he was also a good contact. He was just an all-around good hitter. We'll skip 2020. I don't really count that as a season. 2021, all right. The power numbers dip a little bit, but the contact remains the same. All right. Same thing with 2022. Power numbers go back up, but so the contact. So he's just an all-around good hitter. The concern for me starts right here in 2023, where his power numbers go up again. He's hit 46 home runs. But his batting average dips to 217, and his on-base percentage dips to 318. So, to me, that's a big regress in hitting. I mean, that shows me that he's turning into a guy. It's from a guy who was, an all-around good hitter to kind of just like a home run or bust kind of guy. And then that point is brought up again this time and this year, where the power numbers dip even more to 34. The batting average, sure, it increases to 240, but that doesn't give me much confidence that he's still the hitter he was years ago. So we used to say that Pete Alonso, like Matt Olson, was the kind of contract to give him. If you're going to give Pete Alonso a Matt Olson type contract, then you're severely overpaying him. He has regressed every single season, and he's gotten even worse in pressure moments this year. He's not worth a big contract. I would not sign Pete Alonso for, I'd say, more than 3 years, $20 million average annual value. So a 3-year, $60 million deal. Maybe 80 over 4 if we're being generous, but I'm not budging much off that. If it doesn't get him signed, so be it.
Yeah. I think based off what you showed me, based off your information, that you provided, it's like, I don't know much about Alonso, but based off that, it's like he can hit. Like, he can hit for power. It's just making the contact to hit for said power that is a struggle for him. And batting average wise does not look pretty whatsoever.
No.
And I could see on the far right of Baseball Reference that he's been batting consistently third in the lineup for the Mets. So
he actually got moved down. He's batting 5th in the playoffs.
For obvious reasons.
He's 4 for 36. I think he's 4 for 36.
Yeesh.
5 for 37 now, but not good.
Lindor time. Hey,
he deserves a contract.
MVP, baby, MVP. All right, well, man. I think that'll pretty much wrap it up. Thursday Night Football is tonight between the Falcons and the Bucks, but Brian does not even give a care about that game because his Mets will be playing tonight for Game 3.
It's a good game. I will say that. If you are going to watch football tonight, you're in for a good game, but my solely on the New York Metropolitans.
I hope they pull it off, baby. So we'll see what happens. We'll revisit this on Tuesday, as we usually do. We'll cover Giants and Seahawks. Hopefully, we'll pull out a win. We probably won't, but we'll see what happens there.
Tuesday can be an all-time episode of just depression.
If the Mets win, when is Game 1 of the NLDS?
Saturday.
Oh shoot! And Game 2 is Sunday.
Yep.
Oh shoot!
They'll take Monday off and play Tuesday night in Queens.
Oh great! So Game 3 could. Oh, so basically on Tuesday it's gonna be another stressful day for you, regardless of what happens.
Pretty much.
Great. Welcome to the MLB playoffs. For Nate or for Brian, I'm Nate. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to the Third and Tip Podcast, episode 29 of season 2. We'll catch you guys in the next one, baby. Peace out. Thank you so much.